went to the actual mountain and we landed on the mountain and we did all the tests that we could do. And I kept looking at him and saying, "Are you sure you can do this, Rick?" And he said, "Oh yes, I can do it." You know?
A magician's greatest trick is making you believe the impossible is happening right before your eyes. Hollywood directors do the same thing, but with a twist. Their most powerful magic trick is capturing something completely real. An unscripted accident, a genuine laugh, or a moment of pure terror, and weaving it so perfectly into the story that you never suspect it wasn't planned. You see, the most shocking fact is that many iconic scenes were authentic moments of life interrupting art. We're about to show you 15 times this happened. Number 15. The Spy Who Loved Me. The James Bond franchise is famous for its unbelievable stunts, but the opening ski jump in The Spy Who Loved Me is in a league of its own. You see, that wasn't a special effect. Stuntman Rick Sylvester was paid $30,000, a fortune at the time, to actually ski off the edge of the 3,000-foot Mount Asgard in Canada. The most shocking fact is that the crew held their breath for what felt like an eternity, because his parachute took dangerously long to open. It was a one-take stunt with no room for error, creating one of the most breathtaking and authentic action shots in cinema history. But real stunts don't just involve bravery. Sometimes they capture pure terror. Number 14. Jaws. The opening scene of Jaws terrified a generation, and for good reason. The performance from actress Susan Backliny felt incredibly real, because her fear was 100% authentic. To get a genuine reaction, director Steven Spielberg didn't tell her when the underwater rig would pull her under. Her screams and panicked struggling were her real-time reaction to being violently yanked around by machinery she couldn't see. The thing nobody tells you is that this technique captured a level of raw fear that no amount of acting could ever replicate. From manufactured fear to an unscripted moment of calm in a world of chaos. Number 13. The Godfather. One of the most iconic images from The Godfather is Vito Corleone, played by Marlon Brando, stroking a cat in his lap. But that cat was never in the script. Director Francis Ford Coppola found the stray wandering the studio lot and handed it to Brando right before filming. The cat immediately made itself at home, and its loud purring actually muffled some of Brando's lines, which had to be re-recorded later. This small, authentic moment created a brilliant contrast between the gentleman stroking a cat and the ruthless mob boss he truly was. But what happens when an unscripted moment puts an actor in real danger? Number 12. Back to the Future. In Back to the Future, Part 3, Marty McFly is nearly hanged by Buford Mad Dog Tannen. To put it mildly, the scene became terrifyingly real. To make it look authentic, Michael J. Fox performed the stunt without a box to stand on, using only his hands to stop the rope from tightening. On one take, he missed his mark, and the noose actually choked him until he passed out. The crew thought he was just giving an amazing performance until they realized he was in genuine trouble. They used that take in the movie. Next up, an actor shows off a skill that seemed too good to be true. Number 11. Alien Resurrection. In Alien Resurrection, Sigourney Weaver's character Ripley sinks an impossible behind-the-back basketball shot. The director planned to use special effects, but Weaver insisted she could make the shot for real. After weeks of practice, she nailed it on the first take. The ball went straight through the hoop from about 6 feet beyond the three-point line. The shocked reactions from her co-stars, Winona Ryder and Ron Perlman, are completely genuine because they couldn't believe what they had just witnessed. From a moment of triumph to one of intense, calculated discomfort. Number 10. Inglourious Basterds. Quentin Tarantino is known for pushing his actors, but many people are crazy about what he did in Inglourious Basterds. For the scene where Diane Kruger's character is choked, Tarantino insisted on filming a take where he himself choked the actress to get an authentic reaction of oxygen deprivation. While safety measures were in place, the decision to capture a moment of genuine physical distress remains highly controversial. The raw panic you see in Kruger's eyes is real, blurring the line between performance and a truly dangerous situation. From one powerful scene to an entire episode dedicated to real-life sorrow. Number 9. Glee. When actor Corey Monteith tragically passed away, the creators of Glee were faced with an impossible task. Instead of writing his character off discreetly, they dedicated an entire episode, The Quarterback, to his memory. The tears and emotional breakdowns from the cast, especially from his real-life partner Lea Michele, were not scripted. The actors were channeling their genuine grief into their performances, creating a heartbreaking and authentic tribute that blurred the lines between the actors and their characters, from emotional danger to a high-stakes stunt that defied belief. Number 8. Terminator. Terminator 2 is filled with groundbreaking special effects, but one of its most incredible stunts was 100% real. The scene where the T-1000 chases our heroes in a helicopter, flying under a freeway overpass, was done for real by stunt pilot Chuck Tamburo. He flew the chopper with only a few feet of clearance above and below him. What many overlooked is that this was an incredibly dangerous maneuver that could have ended in disaster with the slightest mistake, proving that practical stunts can still outshine any computer-generated image. That was intense, but our next scene is just intensely painful for a different reason. Number 7. The 40-Year-Old Virgin. The chest waxing scene in The 40-Year-Old Virgin is legendary, a masterclass in comedic agony that has been seared into the minds of audiences everywhere. The setup is simple. Andy Stitzer, played by Steve Carell, is advised by his friends that a smooth chest might improve his chances with women. What follows is anything but simple. The reason the scene feels so painfully real is because it is. Steve Carell, in a bold act of comedic commitment, insisted on actually getting his chest waxed for the very first time on camera. He wanted to capture a raw, unfiltered reaction, and he succeeded beyond anyone's wildest expectations. The director, Judd Apatow, set up multiple cameras, knowing they would only get one shot at this. There were no second takes. The high-pitched, unscripted screams, the desperate pleas for it to stop, and the iconic, nonsensical cry of Kelly Clarkson were all Carell's genuine responses to the agonizing pain of having his thick chest hair violently ripped out. The horrified laughter from his co-stars, Seth Rogen, Paul Rudd, and Romany Malco, was just as real. They weren't just acting amused. They were watching their friend endure actual torture for the sake of a joke, and their shock and delight are palpable. To make matters even more chaotically authentic, the woman performing the waxing was not an actress. She was a professional esthetician who had no idea what to make of the situation, adding a layer of deadpan seriousness that made the entire ordeal even funnier. Pain can be funny, but sometimes an unexpected laugh can change everything. Number 6. The Usual Suspects. The iconic police lineup scene in The Usual Suspects was scripted to be a moment of pure tension. It's where the 5 criminals are brought together for the first time, establishing a dynamic of intimidation and suspicion. The characters were supposed to stand there, dead serious, as they each stepped forward to read a line from a card. However, what ended up on screen was something entirely different. The actors couldn't stop laughing. One by one, they break character, smirking and giggling as they try and fail to maintain their composure. For years, the reason was a Hollywood legend. The official story is that Benicio del Toro, a notorious prankster, kept farting on set. His inability to stay serious set off a chain reaction, and soon the entire cast, including the typically stoic Gabriel Byrne and Kevin Spacey, was breaking. The laughter you see is all real, a result of genuine, uncontrollable amusement. Director Bryan Singer was initially frustrated, trying desperately to get his actors to stick to the script, but as he watched the takes, he eventually realized that the genuine camaraderie and humor made the scene far more compelling and memorable. It showed these hardened criminals not just as menacing figures, but as a group with a shared history and an irreverent attitude toward authority. Their shared laughter told a deeper story than a serious glare ever could have, from breaking character to breaking skin for a role. Number 5. Django Unchained. In Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained, Leonardo DiCaprio delivered one of the most intense and terrifying performances of his career as the brutal plantation owner Calvin Candy. It was a role that came at a physical price. During a furious dinner table monologue where Candy exposes the hero's plot, DiCaprio was supposed to slam his hand on the table for emphasis. In the heat of the moment, he brought his hand down with such force that he accidentally shattered a small glass, severely cutting his palm. Instead of yelling "cut" and stopping the scene, DiCaprio, a true professional, never broke character. He kept going with his menacing speech, incorporating his real bleeding hand into the performance. He even used it as a prop, smearing his blood onto the face of a terrified Kerry Washington. The shock and horror on the other actors' faces are completely genuine. They were watching their co-star bleed profusely while continuing to deliver a chilling monologue. Tarantino, recognizing the raw power of the moment, kept the cameras rolling. DiCaprio's real blood made it into the final cut of the film, a shocking and visceral testament to his absolute dedication to the role. From a bloody hand to a shaved head, our next scene was just as real. Number 4. The Wolf of Wall Street. The office party scenes in Martin Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street were designed to be portraits of pure, unadulterated chaos and debauchery. The film aimed to capture the anything-goes atmosphere of Jordan Belfort's brokerage firm, and one moment, in particular, was completely real. In the middle of a crowded, roaring party, a woman is seen getting her head shaved right there on the trading floor as cheering men surround her. This wasn't just a scripted bit of background action with an actress. During the filming of the scene, a cast member spontaneously offered an extra $700 to let them shave her head on the spot, and she agreed. What many overlooked is that director Martin Scorsese witnessed this spontaneous transaction and immediately turned the cameras on it, from crazy parties to a famously quirky TV show moment. Number 3. Friends. Remember the episode of Friends when Ross, in a misguided attempt to be unique, decides to play the bagpipes at Phoebe's wedding? The painfully awful screeching sound he produces is one of the show's most cringeworthy and hilarious moments. What makes it even funnier is that the sound was completely authentic. David Schwimmer didn't just pretend. He actually took lessons and learned to play the basics of the notoriously difficult instrument specifically for that one scene. His dedication paid off, but the most shocking fact is that Jennifer Aniston's reaction wasn't scripted at all. As Ross begins to play, Phoebe, Lisa Kudrow, sings along, trying to match the chaotic noise. But Jennifer Aniston, playing Rachel, found Schwimmer's earnest and terrible performance so genuinely hilarious that she couldn't keep a straight face. She visibly struggles to stifle her laughter, even hiding her face behind a pillow at one point. The producers decided her real, uncontrollable giggles were far funnier than any written line, so they kept it in the final cut, creating a classic, genuine moment of on-set chemistry. Our next scene also involves an actor getting a little too into their role. Number 2. Home Alone. In the beloved Christmas classic Home Alone, the villainous Wet Bandit Harry, played by the legendary Joe Pesci, has a particularly menacing threat for Kevin. "I'm gonna bite all your fingers off one at a time." While it sounds like a typical cartoon villain line, Pesci, a known method actor famous for his terrifying gangster roles, wanted to make the threat feel real. He largely ignored the 9-year-old Macaulay Culkin on set to ensure the young actor would be genuinely intimidated by him. During one rehearsal for the scene where Harry and Marv finally catch Kevin and hang him on a coat hook, Pesci got so deep into his menacing character that he actually bit Macaulay Culkin on the finger. It wasn't just a playful nip. He bit down hard enough to break the skin and leave a permanent scar. It was a shocking, unscripted moment of intensity that went a step too far, but it showed just how seriously Pesci took his role. He wasn't just playing a bad guy in a kid's movie. He was determined to be a terrifyingly authentic villain. And finally, a simple prank that became one of cinema's most beloved moments. Number 1. Pretty Woman. The most iconic and heartwarming scene in Pretty Woman was a complete and total accident. In the scene, the wealthy Edward, played by Richard Gere, presents a stunning diamond and ruby necklace to Vivian, played by a young Julia Roberts. As she reaches out to touch the exquisite piece of jewelry, Gere, as a playful, unscripted prank, snaps the box shut on her fingers. This was not in the script. It was a simple, on-the-spot joke Gere pulled to get a reaction out of Roberts between takes. Her response, a surprised, full-throated, an utterly genuine laugh, was so infectious and charming that it lit up the entire screen. Director Gary Marshall loved the authentic moment of joy and chemistry between them so much that he knew instantly it had to be in the movie. So, how far is too far for the sake of realism in movies? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you found this interesting, be sure to like and subscribe.